It was a rainy afternoon in New York City. People rushed through the streets with umbrellas, trying to escape the cold wind. Inside a small local grocery store, a woman named Sarah Miller stood in the corner, counting every penny she had. Her 5 children waited quietly behind her, holding on to her coat and a small bag of bread. Sarah was a single mother. Life had never been easy for her. Her husband had passed away 5 years ago in a car accident. Since then, she worked 2 cleaning jobs just to feed her kids and keep the lights on. She didn't have new clothes or fancy things, but she had love, and that was enough for her. As Sarah reached the counter, she looked worried. The total was $14.79. She had only $12. Her heart sank. She quietly told the cashier to remove the milk. A man behind her had been watching silently. He noticed the worn-out shoes the kids were wearing. He noticed the way Sarah kept looking at them, making sure they were okay. Something about this woman caught his attention. She wasn't begging. She wasn't loud. But her silence spoke louder than words. "Excuse me," the man said kindly. "I'll take care of it." Sarah turned around and saw a tall man in his late 30s, wearing a clean white shirt and a black coat. His hair was neatly combed, and his hands looked like he hadn't done a day of hard labor. His smile was warm, and his voice calm. "Oh no, I can't let you do that," Sarah said, quickly, feeling embarrassed. "I insist," he replied, placing a $20 bill on the counter. "It's just a small thing." The cashier smiled and gave Sarah the change. Sarah looked at her kids and then back at the man. "Thank you, sir. You didn't have to." "I know," he said, "but sometimes kindness is all we need." Outside, the store. As Sarah stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The man followed her with a small umbrella. "Let me walk you to your car," he offered. Sarah laughed. "We don't have a car. We're taking the bus." He was surprised, but didn't show it. "At least let me walk you to the stop." As they walked, they talked. She introduced herself. "I'm Sarah, and these are my kids, Liam, Noah, Grace, Ella, and the baby, Ava." He smiled at each one of them. "I'm Dr. Ryan Carter. I'm a heart surgeon." Sarah's eyes widened. A surgeon? What was he doing in a local grocery store? "I was visiting a friend nearby," he said, as if reading her mind. Stopped here for some snacks. They reached the bus stop. Sarah thanked him again. "Do you live around here?" Ryan asked. Sarah nodded. "Just 2 blocks away. Small apartment." Something in Ryan's heart felt heavy. He had all the money in the world, a big house, fancy cars, but he didn't have what Sarah had: real love, real strength, and a kind soul. The first gesture. The next day, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about Sarah and her kids. He told himself he was just being nice, but deep inside, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: connection. He went back to the same area, hoping he might see them again, and he did. Sarah was coming out of a building with a mop and a bucket. She had just finished cleaning an office. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, and she looked tired. "Hey!" Ryan called out, walking toward her. "Sarah, right?" She was surprised and a bit confused. "Dr. Carter, what are you doing here?" "I was in the area," he lied. "Thought I'd check on you and the kids." Sarah smiled softly. "They're good. Thank you again for your help yesterday." "Listen," Ryan said. "I was wondering, would you and the kids like to have dinner with me sometime?" Sarah looked shocked. "Dinner? With you?" "Yes, nothing fancy. Just pizza or something simple." "My treat." Sarah hesitated. She hadn't been on a dinner outing in years, but something about Ryan felt genuine. "Okay," she finally said. "But only if it's simple." Ryan laughed. "Simple it is? The dinner that changed everything." A few days later, Ryan picked them up in a black SUV. The kids were excited. They had never seen a car that clean. Ryan drove them to a small but cozy Italian place. The kids laughed, ate, and shared stories. Ryan listened with full attention. He watched how Sarah wiped the baby's mouth with care, how she served the kids first before touching her own plate, how she smiled even when she was clearly tired. After dinner, Ryan dropped them back. Before leaving, he handed Sarah a small envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Just something to help," he replied. "Please don't say no." Sarah opened it later and found $500. She cried that night, not because of the money, but because someone finally saw her. The whisper in the wind over the next few weeks, Ryan became part of their world. He helped Liam with homework, bought new shoes for the kids, and sometimes just came over for tea. He never made Sarah feel small. He respected her strength. He admired her heart, but people began to notice. Rumors started. Why would a rich doctor spend time with a poor single mom? Some asked. Sarah tried to distance herself. She didn't want Ryan to be embarrassed, but he wasn't going anywhere. Dr. Ryan Collins couldn't stop thinking about her. After that short ride and brief coffee chat, something about Emma stayed in his mind like a soft melody. She was different, not just beautiful, but strong and full of love for her children. The way she smiled even when tired, the way she talked about her kids, it touched something deep in him. Ryan had spent most of his life around polished people, hospital staff, rich families, and social events, but none of them had that same warmth. Emma had. Emma, on the other hand, didn't think too much about Ryan. After all, people like him didn't stay around people like her. A famous, wealthy surgeon and a single mom with 5 kids? It sounded like a fairy tale, and she didn't believe in fairy tales anymore. But life had a different plan. The surprise visit. Few days later, Emma was at the grocery store with her youngest child, Mia. The other kids were at school. She was pushing a cart full of basic items, milk, bread, diapers, when she heard a familiar voice. "Need help carrying all that?" She turned and saw Ryan, holding a shopping basket, smiling. Her heart skipped. "Oh, Dr. Collins?" "Ryan," he said with a soft chuckle. "Just Ryan." She laughed nervously. "What are you doing here?" "Same as you, trying to survive a grocery run," he joked. "I just moved to this side of town. Wanted a quieter place." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Quiet? This neighborhood has kids screaming every hour." "That's the charm." Ryan smiled. "Mind if I join you?" Emma hesitated, then nodded. "Sure." Learning her world, as they walked through the aisles, Ryan watched her interact with Mia. He noticed how Emma knew exactly what to buy, how much everything cost, and how she calculated every cent. "You're good at this," he said. "At surviving?" Emma smiled. "Yes," Ryan said seriously. "You're incredible." Emma paused for a moment. Compliments made her uncomfortable. She wasn't used to being noticed for her strength. They talked more. Ryan asked about her kids. She shared small stories, how her eldest, Jake, tried to act like a man of the house, how Lily loved drawing, how twins Noah and Nathan were always fighting but couldn't live without each other, and little Mia, who never stopped asking questions. He laughed, truly entertained. "You should write a book," she smiled, too busy living the story. The truth about her past. After that day, Ryan and Emma began talking more. He would sometimes stop by with groceries or toys for the kids. At first, Emma didn't want to accept anything. But Ryan never pushed. He just showed up and helped quietly. One rainy evening, after putting the kids to bed, Emma and Ryan sat on the porch. He had brought coffee again. She looked tired, her eyes holding a storm. She never spoke. He gently asked, "Emma, where is their father?" She looked away, her voice low. "He left 3 years ago. Said the pressure was too much. 5 kids? A woman with no fancy degree or money? He walked away. No child support, no goodbye. Ryan was silent, letting her speak. I was broken for a long time. Not because he left, but because I thought I wasn't enough. You're more than enough, Ryan said softly. Emma didn't cry. She had cried enough. But she looked at him, and for the first time, someone saw the pain behind the smile. Her kids meet him again. It wasn't long before the kids got used to seeing Dr. Ryan. He fixed the broken door, helped with homework, and brought pizza on Fridays. Jake tested him at first, acting cold. But Ryan didn't try too hard. He respected their space. One evening, Jake sat next to him and asked, "Why do you come here? We're not rich. We don't have anything." Ryan looked him in the eyes. "Because you all have the one thing I never had growing up, a mother who fights for her family. That's worth more than money." Jake didn't say much, but something changed after that. Emma saw it too. Ryan wasn't just being kind. He was slowly becoming part of their lives. But she was scared. Emma's fear one night, Emma and Ryan sat together again. The kids were asleep. She was quiet. "I'm not what you're used to, Ryan," she said. "I have a loud house, messy days, no time for makeup or fancy dinners. My life is not easy." "I don't want easy," he replied. "I want real." Emma looked down. "You could have anyone." "I'm not looking for anyone. I found you." Her eyes filled with tears. She had kept her heart locked for so long. But now, someone had the key, a hidden past. Emerges, just when things started to feel warm. Something happened. A woman from Ryan's past appeared. Olivia, a graceful, confident woman. She showed up at Ryan's hospital one day, acting like she still owned his world. "I heard you're spending time in the poor part of town," she teased. "A surgeon like you deserves more." Ryan didn't respond to her games. But Olivia wasn't done. She searched for Emma, found her house, and left. A note on Emma's doorstep. It read, "You'll never be enough for him. He belongs to our world, not yours." The morning after their second meeting, Anna stood near the kitchen window, watching her children play in the yard. For the first time in months, she felt a strange calm in her heart. Something had changed since she met Dr. David Carter. She still couldn't believe it. A wealthy, respected surgeon, kind, gentle, and deeply caring, had shown interest in her. A single mother of 5. No makeup, no fancy dress, just a tired smile and honest eyes. But not everyone was happy. As the sun rose, over the small town, whispers began to spread like wildfire. "Did you hear? The rich doctor is seeing that woman. The one with 5 kids. She's just using him for money. He'll regret it. Just wait and see." Some people whispered behind closed doors. Others didn't even bother hiding it. At the local grocery store, Anna could feel the stares. One woman pushed her cart past and muttered, "Some people don't know their place." Anna held her head high and kept walking, but inside her heart was breaking. Not because of what they said, but because she was scared they might be right. What did she have to offer a man like David? A home filled with noise, toys, and responsibilities, a past full of struggle. Meanwhile, David had his own battle to face. The hospital. His fellow doctors noticed something different about him. He smiled more. He worked with more energy. One of them asked jokingly, "You in love or something?" David smiled but said nothing. But not everyone was joking. His assistant, Claire, looked at him one afternoon and said, "Dr. Carter, are the rumors true?" "What rumors?" he asked. "That you're seeing that woman with all the kids." "Anna." David looked her straight in the eyes. "Yes, I am." Claire's smile disappeared. "But she's not your type. She's struggling, David. People will talk." "Let them talk," he replied softly. "She's stronger than anyone I know." That evening, David visited Anna again. The children were excited. Little Ben ran to the door, shouting, "Dr. David is here!" Anna looked nervous, but opened the door. She had prepared a simple dinner. Nothing fancy, just love in every bite. David didn't care about silver spoons or candlelight. He loved how the children laughed around the table. He watched Anna serve food with care and discipline, always, making sure the kids came first. After dinner, as the kids watched cartoons, David and Anna sat on the porch. "People are talking," Anna said finally. "They think I'm not good enough for you." David turned to her gently. "Do you believe that?" She looked away. "Sometimes." David took her hand. "Anna, I've seen families with wealth but no love. I've seen big houses with no warmth. But your home is full of heart. That's rare. That's beautiful." Anna's eyes filled with tears. Not because she was sad, but because for the first time someone saw her, truly saw her. Not as a burden, not as a single mom, but as a woman of strength. But outside, the storm was growing. One evening, while David was at a medical event in the city, a newspaper headline appeared. "Top surgeon falls for single mom of 5. Town divided." The article showed a photo of Anna picking up groceries with her kids. It called her a woman with a complicated past and questioned her true intentions. When Anna saw the article, her hands trembled. Her children were confused. "Mommy, why is your picture in the paper?" Anna didn't answer. She couldn't. That night, she called David. "You should stay away from us," she whispered, her voice shaking. "This is getting out of control. Your reputation, your career." David interrupted. "Anna, don't say that. You deserve someone simple, someone without baggage, not someone who brings trouble." David was silent for a long time. Then he said, "I didn't fall in love with a reputation. I fell in love with you, and I'm not leaving." The next morning, David made a bold move. He held a press conference outside the hospital. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. David stood tall and calm. "I want to speak as a doctor and as a man," he said. "I've spent my life healing bodies. But Anna, she's the one who reminded me how to heal a heart. She's not just a mother of 5. She's a fighter. She's real. And I'm proud to love her." The world was silent for a moment. Then, applause. Some clapped, others nodded. Some still judged quietly. But David had made his choice. Back in her small home, Anna saw the press conference on TV. Her children gathered around, cheering. "Mommy, he really loves you!" Anna smiled, her heart filled with emotion, not because she was rescued, not because she was lucky, but because someone had chosen her, loudly, proudly. The whispers in town didn't stop, but they no longer mattered because something stronger than gossip had begun. A love that didn't need permission. A story that was just beginning. It was a bright Sunday morning, but the house felt cold. Not because of the weather, but because of the tension that hung in the air. Everyone in the neighborhood had something to say about Dr. Saad and Aisha. Some smiled to his face and whispered behind his back. Others didn't bother hiding their words. Why would a successful doctor marry a woman with 5 kids? She must be a gold digger. Maybe he lost a bet. These cruel words reached Aisha's ears every day, though no one dared say them in front of Saad. He was too respected, a top surgeon, wealthy, charming, and kind. But even respect had limits when people felt jealous. Aisha felt the change. The cold stares from women in the grocery store, the fake smiles from other mothers at school, the sudden distance from people who once greeted her. She had become a topic of gossip. Even her kids noticed. "Mama, why does my friend's mom say we are different now? Why don't they invite us anymore? Why do people stare at us in the mall?" Aisha had no answers. She stayed silent, putting on a brave face for her children, but inside she was breaking. Every day felt like a test. Dr. Saad noticed too Saad had always been focused on his work. Long surgeries, emergency calls, patients who needed him every hour. But now, his focus was divided. He came home to a wife with tired eyes and children, who looked confused. One night he found Aisha in the kitchen, wiping silent tears. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. She shook her head. "Nothing, just tired." He didn't believe her. "Aisha, please talk to me. Don't carry everything alone. I'm your husband." Aisha looked at him. "Saad, they think I don't deserve you, that I'm using you, that I married you for money." Saad sat down, stunned. He knew there would be judgment, but he had underestimated how cruel the world could be. "And do you believe them?" he asked. Softly. "No," she cried, "but their words hurt. They act like I'm ashamed to your name. I just want to live in peace. For the kids to grow happy." Saad took her hand. "Aisha, I didn't marry you for your past. I married you because I saw your heart, your strength, your love for your kids. You're not a shame. You're a blessing." A silent war begins, but words of love could not stop the fire that was already spreading. Soon, the media got wind of the story. "Famous surgeon marries single mom of 5. The headlines were everywhere. Social media exploded. Some people cheered the couple, others mocked them. Some called it a publicity stunt. Some accused Aisha of planning it all. Even in Saad's hospital, whispers started. Will she want him to stop working now? How will this affect his image? Does she understand who he is? A few patients canceled appointments. His senior doctor called him in. "You're free to choose your life, Saad," the doctor said, "but be ready for the consequences. The world can be unkind, especially to someone at the top." Saad nodded but didn't step back. He knew the world was judging, but he also knew that his heart was at peace when he came home to Aisha and her children. The children face the heat things. Got worse for the kids, too. At school, some classmates teased them. "Your mom trapped a rich man. Did he adopt you all like puppies?" The youngest, Sana, cried for hours. The eldest, Hamza, got into a fight trying to defend his mom. Aisha was called to the school multiple times. She apologized, cried in the principal's office, and hugged her children at night with a breaking heart. She thought about leaving. One night, she sat with her suitcase packed. "I'll go back. I'll take the kids. You don't deserve this storm, Saad." But Saad stopped her. "You are not the problem. People's minds are. We will face this. Together. One brave decision, doctor." Saad called for a press conference. Everyone thought he would announce a separation or respond with a denial. But what he did shocked the world. He walked in holding Aisha's hand. Behind them stood the 5 kids, dressed neatly, shy but proud. Saad spoke clearly, firmly. "I am Dr. Saad Ahmed. Yes, I married Aisha. Yes, she is a single mother. And yes, I knew all of this before I said, 'Kubul Hai.'" He looked straight into the cameras. "She raised 5 children alone. Do you know what kind of strength it takes? More than any surgery I've ever done. She is not a burden. She is my choice. And if anyone doubts my decision, they are free to walk away from my life. But I will never walk away from her." There was silence, then applause, and tears. The world reacts. That video went viral in hours. Millions watched. Comments flooded in. "Real man. What a beautiful family. He stood up for love." But not all comments were kind. Some still spread hate. But now Aisha had something stronger: support. Women around the world shared their stories. Single mothers, widows, divorced women, all said they felt seen, respected, and hopeful. For weeks, Dr. Kamran and Aisha had been living like a happy family. The kids were getting closer to him. He would help them with homework, play with the younger ones, and even read bedtime stories. Aisha's heart slowly began to trust again. Her face, once filled with sadness, now glowed with peace. But behind this peace, a secret was hiding. Cameron had been receiving strange phone calls. Sometimes he would walk outside late at night to talk. Aisha noticed it but didn't say anything. She didn't want to doubt him, but deep inside, something felt wrong. One evening, Cameron came home looking tense. His smile was weak, and his eyes looked tired. "Is everything okay?" Aisha asked softly. Cameron paused for a second. Then he forced a smile and said, "Just work stress. Nothing to worry about." But the truth was, something serious was happening. That night, when everyone was asleep, Cameron sat on the balcony alone. His phone was in his hand, and he kept staring at a message. "She deserves to know. You can't hide it forever." His hands shook slightly. He knew he couldn't keep hiding the truth from Aisha anymore. But he was scared. Scared that if she knew everything, she might leave him. The next morning, Aisha decided to talk to him. "I feel like something's bothering you," she said. "You're not the same these days." Cameron looked at her. His heart was heavy. "Aisha," he said, "there's something I need to tell you." Aisha felt her heart beat faster. "What is it?" Cameron took a deep breath. "Before I met you, before I came to that small clinic, my life was very different. I was engaged." Aisha's eyes widened. She didn't say anything. "My fiancée Zara and I were together for 3 years. We were supposed to get married. But 1 week before the wedding, she disappeared." Aisha gasped. "Disappeared?" "Yes. She just vanished. No goodbye, no message. I tried everything to find her. Police, private investigators, but nothing. It broke me. That's why I left the city. That's why I came to the village. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to forget." Aisha was quiet. She was trying to understand. Cameron continued. "But recently someone sent me a message. They said Zara is alive, and that she might come back. That's why I've been acting strange. I didn't know how to tell you." Tears welled up in Aisha's eyes. "So, do you still love her?" Cameron looked pained. "I don't know what I feel, but I know I love you now. You and the kids have brought life back into me. I just didn't want this past to ruin what we have." Aisha turned away. Her heart was confused. She didn't know if she could believe him fully. But one thing was clear. This secret had changed everything. The next few days were difficult. Aisha became quiet again. The kids noticed the tension. Cameron tried to talk to her, but she kept her distance. One night, little Ramin came to Aisha and asked, "Mama, is Uncle Cameron going to leave us?" Aisha hugged her tight and said, "No, baby, he's not leaving." But even she wasn't sure if that was true. Then something unexpected happened. A woman showed up at their gate. She wore a long black coat, sunglasses, and carried a small bag. Her voice was soft but cold. "Is Cameron here?" she asked. Aisha felt her stomach twist. "Who are you?" "I'm Zara," the woman said. The name hit Aisha like lightning. She stepped back in shock. Cameron came outside just at that moment. When he saw Zara, his face froze. "Zara? What? How?" "I'm back," she said simply, "and I want to talk." Aisha stood in silence. Her worst fear had come true. Inside the house, Zara told her story. She said she had run away because of pressure from her family. They had forced her to marry someone else. But now she was free and wanted to fix her life. "I want you back, Kamran," she said. "I made a mistake." Aisha listened from the kitchen, tears in her eyes. Kamran looked down. "A lot has changed, Zara. I'm married now. I have a family. Zara smiled sadly. But do you love her more than you loved me? Kamran didn't answer. That silence said a lot. Aisha knew she had to make a choice. Stay and fight for her family, or walk away before getting more hurt. That night, she packed a small bag. She planned to leave before the kids woke up. But as she stood at the door, Kamran stopped her. Please don't go, he begged. I didn't choose her. I'm choosing you. Then why didn't you say that to her face? Aisha asked, tears falling. I was shocked. I needed time. But Aisha, you are my present. You and the kids are my heart. Then prove it, she whispered. The next day, Kamran went to meet Zara. He returned her things, gave her a check, and told her to move on. I'm sorry, he said, but I'm married now. I have a real family. You're my past. Aisha is my future. Zara didn't argue. She left quietly. When Kamran came back, Aisha was waiting. She looked at him with hopeful eyes. Is it really over? She asked. Yes, he said. It's just us now. It was a quiet night. The house was peaceful. The children had gone to sleep. Maria stood by the window looking outside. The sky was full of stars, but something felt heavy in her heart. Dr. Rayyan was working late again. He had been coming home late for many days. He said it was hospital work. But Maria noticed something strange. He was distant, silent, different. Maria wasn't a woman who doubted easily. But this time, her heart didn't feel calm. The next morning, Maria decided to visit Rayyan's hospital. She packed lunch for him and told the kids she'd be back soon. When she reached the hospital, the receptionist smiled at her. You're Dr. Rayyan's wife, right? He just left. Said he was going to the city center. Maria's heart skipped a beat. Left? But he told me he had surgeries all day. The receptionist didn't notice her face turning pale. Maybe an emergency, she said casually. Maria nodded, smiled weakly, and walked out. Maria sat in her car, confused. Why did Rayyan lie? What was so important that he left the hospital? Then she remembered something. Last week she had found a small note in his coat pocket. It had an address. She thought it was for hospital work, but now she felt it could be more. She took out her phone and searched the address. It was only 15 minutes away. Without thinking more, she started the car and drove there. The building looked simple from the outside. An apartment complex, clean, quiet. She parked her car and sat for a moment, her hands shaking slightly. What if I'm wrong? She thought. What if I'm right? She walked up slowly and reached apartment 3B, the number from the note. She heard voices inside, a woman's voice, and Rayyan's. Her heart dropped. She raised her hand and knocked. The door opened. A young woman stood there, beautiful, with soft features and kind eyes. She looked surprised. Yes? Before Maria could answer, Rayyan appeared behind her. He froze. Maria, he said slowly, shocked. What are you doing here? Maria couldn't speak. Her lips were dry, her throat tight. Should I go? The young woman asked, sensing tension. Rayyan looked at her, then at Maria. No, please come inside. Maria entered the apartment. It was warm, homely. There were pictures on the wall, one of Rayyan and the woman, smiling, laughing. Maria's head was spinning. Rayyan, she whispered, what is this? He closed his eyes and sighed deeply. Sit down, Maria. There's something I've hidden from you, but not because I don't love you. I didn't know how to tell you. The truth came out like waves. The woman's name was Alina. She was Rayyan's cousin from his village. Years ago, her parents died in a car accident, and Rayyan helped raise her. She had no one else. She had been through depression and pain. Rayyan had promised to support her. He had been giving her money, paying her rent and visiting often to make sure she was okay. But he never told Maria, not because it was wrong, but because he feared she might misunderstand. "I didn't want secrets," Rayan said, "but I was afraid you'd think I was hiding something bad." Maria's heart was heavy. This was not what she expected. It wasn't an affair. It was a hidden kindness. But still, it was a secret. A big one. "Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me?" she asked, her voice soft but full of pain. Rayan looked down. "Because I've seen too many people leave when things get hard. I didn't want to lose you." Maria left the apartment quietly. She needed time. Her heart was torn, not from betrayal, but from being kept in the dark. She loved Rayan deeply, but trust is like glass. Once cracked, it takes time to heal. Back at home, the children noticed Maria's silence. "Mama, are you okay?" Zara, the eldest daughter, asked. Maria smiled softly. "Yes, darling. Mama just needs some rest." That night she couldn't sleep. Memories of Rayan's love, support, and care filled her mind. He was always good to her children. A good man with a kind heart, but secrets hurt, even if they come from a good place. The next morning, Rayan came home early. He sat at the kitchen table and waited. When Maria walked in, he stood up. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I should have told you everything from the beginning. I didn't lie because I was cheating. I lied because I was scared." Maria looked at him, eyes filled with emotion. "Scared of what?" "Scared of losing you, of hurting you, of making you feel less important." She sat down beside him. "I wish you had trusted me. We've faced so much together. Poverty, judgment, raising 5 kids, and now we're finally at peace." "Don't let secrets destroy that." Rayan held her hand gently. "I'll make it right." That evening, Maria, Rayan, and the children went to visit Alina together. Maria hugged her warmly. "I'm sorry I judged before knowing." Alina had tears in her eyes. "You have a strong heart, Maria. Rayan is lucky." Maria smiled. "We're all lucky to have love, to have family, and to have truth." But little did they know, a bigger shock was still waiting for them, something that would shake not only their family. The city was silent, the night cold and quiet. Inside their beautiful home, something wasn't right. Zara sat at the edge of her bed, her eyes full of fear. Her hands were shaking. In her hands was a small envelope. It had no name, no sender. Just her name written in bold letters, Zara. She opened it slowly. Inside, there was a photo. It was an old picture of Dr. Cameron, her husband. But he wasn't alone. He stood beside another woman, tall, beautiful, and smiling. Behind them was a house. A child stood near them. It looked like a family photo. Zara's heart dropped. "Who are they?" she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "Is he hiding something from me?" That night, Cameron was working late at the hospital. When he returned home, it was already past midnight. Zara didn't sleep. She waited for him. "Cameron," she said as he entered. He looked surprised to see her awake. "You didn't sleep?" he asked. She held up the photo. "What is this?" Cameron stopped. His smile faded. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he sat down. "I was going to tell you one day," he said slowly. Zara stared at him. "Who is this woman? That child?" Cameron sighed. "That was my past. Her name was Alina, and the boy, he was my son." Zara felt like the floor moved under her feet. "Your son?" she said in shock. "Yes," Cameron nodded. "Many years ago, before I met you, before everything." "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. "You lied to me." "I didn't lie." Kamran said softly. I just didn't know how to say it. Zara stood up. You always said I was your first real family. You married me, loved my kids like your own. I thought we shared everything. I do love you, Kamran said, eyes full of pain. You and the children are my world now. That life, it ended. Alina left me, and she took our son. I never saw them again. Zara walked to the window, her eyes staring into the darkness. But someone knows, she said. Someone sent this picture. Cameron looked worried. Yes. And that scares me. The next day, things felt heavy in the house. Zara was quiet. Kamran was lost in thought. The kids felt something was wrong. That evening, Zara received another letter. This one had a note inside. The truth always finds a way. Be ready for what's next. No name. No return address. Zara showed it to Kamran. This is not normal, she said. Someone is watching us. Kamran's face turned pale. I know who it is. Who? Zara asked. A friend from the past, Kamran said. He hated me for what happened with Alina. He always said I would pay for my choices. Zara's voice trembled. Is he dangerous? He can be, Kamran replied. He's rich now and very angry. That night, Zara couldn't sleep. Her mind was full of questions. Who was this man? Why now? What did he want? 2 days later, the answer came. A video went viral on social media. The title was shocking. Famous surgeon hid secret family. Truth revealed. The video showed the same photo Zara saw, and more. Pictures of Alina, their son, and even letters written by Kamran years ago. It painted him as a liar, a man who ran away from his past. People started talking. News channels picked it up. Journalists came to their house. Zara was overwhelmed. The children were scared. Kamran stood like a rock. I will fix this, he promised. Zara. I won't let our family break. But Zara was broken. She didn't know what to believe anymore. One morning, she went to the park with her youngest child. As she sat on the bench, a woman came and sat next to her. Zara? The woman asked gently. Zara turned. Her heart skipped a beat. It was Alina, the woman from the photo. You? Zara whispered. Yes, Alina said. I wanted to meet you. Zara stood up, shocked. Why now? Why after all these years? Alina looked down. Because our son is dying, Zara gasped. He needs a heart surgery, Alina said, and Kamran is the only one who can save him. Tears filled Alina's eyes. I left Kamran because I was scared, but my son, our son, he needs his father now. Zara stood frozen. The truth, the whole truth, was deeper than she ever imagined. Back home, Kamran was silent when she told him. He fell to the ground, crying. My son, he whispered. Zara knelt beside him. For the first time, she saw a man broken, a father in pain. I have to help him, Kamran said. I have to try. Zara nodded slowly. Then go, do it, for him. But what about us? Kamran asked. Zara looked at him. If your love for us was true, we'll survive this. And so, Kamran packed his things. He left for another city, where his son was waiting. The world still watched. Some blamed him. Others supported him. But none knew the full story. Only Zara did. She waited, prayed, and hoped. The airport was cold and echoing. Dr. Kamran stood alone near the departure gates. His hands trembled and his heart ached. In a few hours, he'd meet his son, the boy he hadn't seen in years. The boy who was fighting for his life. He recalled Zara's words imploring him, if your love for us was true, we'll survive this. He breathed deeply, forcing courage into his veins. He had to do this, not just as a surgeon, but as a father. The reunion Kamran arrived at the Children's Hospital in Islamabad. Alina was waiting, standing beside a small bed. The boy lay there, pale, fragile. His dark eyes opened when Kamran entered. "Dad?" he whispered. Kamran dropped to his knees, his eyes filling with tears. "Yes, my son. It's me." The boy tried to smile, but couldn't. Kamran held his hand, speaking softly about the future, about birthdays, school, and never leaving again. The surgery in the operating room. Kamran scrubbed in. He looked at his son in the bed before the procedure, then at the medical team. "This surgery will save his life," he said clearly. "I'll lead it." It was the most important surgery of his life, not for fame, but for family. Hours passed, exactly 3 hours and 25 minutes. The team emerged to confirm that the operation was a success. Kamran stayed behind, cleaning up quietly. His son's heartbeat and steady breathing filled the room. The dad, who stood strong outside, Zara, paced nervously. She had flown over, leaving the kids with family. When Kamran finally emerged, she ran to him. "He's okay," he said softly. "He's alive." She hugged him tight. Tears and relief mixed. At that moment, a reporter from a local news station pushed forward. He gasped, seeing Kamran in scrubs. "Dr. Kamran," he called, "can you tell us how you felt saving your own son?" Kamran looked at Zara, then back at the reporter. "He was never just a patient," he said quietly. "He was my son. And today, I did what every father would do." The world heard him. Facing the storm news of the surgery went viral. The same people who criticized him before now praised him. Surgeon Savior Dad. From scandal to hero. Love healed a man's reputation. Many reached out with support and gifts. Some criticized, saying he should have told the truth earlier. But the overwhelming message was of hope and forgiveness. Homecoming Kamran and Zara returned together to their children. Zara's face glowed with warmth. Their kids ran into their arms, all laughter and tears. That evening, Kamran stood before his family. He held his son in his arms, the boy he fought for. The children listened with wide eyes. "I was wrong," he said. "I kept secrets. I didn't trust you all with the truth, but I acted out of fear. And I'm sorry." Zara reached his hand. "We know," he continued, turning to their son. "Welcome home, my boy." A new beginning. Months passed. The family rebuilt together. The hospital held a celebration for the successful surgery. Kamran used the event to speak openly about love, mistakes, and forgiveness. He announced a foundation to help children with heart problems, especially those without fathers or resources. He dedicated it to his son and to Zara, who never gave up. Zara stood beside him, tears in her eyes, proud, healed, protected. The world watches again. Journalists asked Zara how she felt. She looked at Kamran and smiled gently. "I was afraid, but we grew stronger. We forgave, we loved, and we survived." Photos showed the family together, loving, united. The world saw their pain, their resilience, and their truth. The legacy of love years later, their children would tell their own stories about a stepfather who became a hero, a mother who never lost hope, and a father who learned that honesty matters more than pride. As the sun set on their life, the final chapter wasn't about secrets or scandal. It was about forgiveness, about putting family above fear, and about a love that could heal, not just bodies, but broken hearts too.